This is all about who are you targeting. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they set up an ad assuming that it's going to convert, and it doesn't. Or maybe it converts a little bit, but then it crashes, it doesn't convert at all. And people begin to wonder, okay, is it the product? Is it the traffic source? What is it? The reality is with paid traffic, it's a very different animal, meaning you really need to know who you're targeting and pretty much everything about them. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So one of the easiest ways to kind of develop who you're targeting is to look at your past sales and try to develop what that person may look like. So if you have past emails, you have maybe a Facebook group or a community, take a look in there and try to kind of see a pattern. Now, if you don't have any past sales, then you're going to need to get an idea of this. You can create it, the demographic data, and obviously you can start testing, but you're not going to know 100%. All this is doing is simply giving you a first step. All right, so this is not set in stone. This is not going to be forever. So past sales is one thing. Another thing is to start developing and figuring out their demographics. And what I mean by that is, are they male? Are they female? What kind of age group are they? Are they young? Are they 18? Are they 20, 30, 40, 50? Or are they 65 plus? And beyond that, demographics wise, start to kind of paint a picture of who you are targeting. What do they like? What do they dislike? What does their lifestyle look like? When they wake up, what do they do? What do they have a family? Do they have a wife? Do they have a husband? Do they have a spouse? Do they have a loved one? Do they have kids? Do they have kids that have gotten out of the house? When do they normally wake up? Do they have a day job? Are they retired? So you need to start creating this picture. So what sites do they visit? Do they wake up? Do they watch TV? What kind of television shows do they like? What kind of places do they go to? What kind of cars do they drive? What are things that they like to do? What is their occupation, like I said? Now, we're going to be able to use the Facebook Audience Insights tool in the next video, and this will give you better data and better information, but it's a lot better to brainstorm a little bit, kind of get an idea of what you're looking for before you use the Audience Insights tool. Because by doing this, this will allow your mind to open up and you'll start seeing things. So lifestyle, culture, location. One thing and one big mistake that a lot of people make is when they start running ads is that they focus on a specific person, but they don't think about what that person is thinking. So if you're targeting a specific location, then you need to start thinking about culture. You need to start thinking about what they're thinking and all of that. You may not have 100%, but by imagining and by kind of getting the data of what their lifestyle looks like and all of that, you will better speak to that person. In other words, you'll be able to speak to that person. That person will feel like, wow, you're speaking directly to me, and your conversions will get better. So based on all this information, what you want to do is kind of get an idea, and then the process is you begin to run ads based on this information, and then based on the ads and the Facebook and what the data that they give you, you buy data, and the data tells you exactly what that person looks like. And that's something that you can't really do with search engine optimization or other types of traffic. And that's the beauty of Facebook ads. So once you figure out exactly who is clicking on your ads and what kind of interest that they are targeted in or grouped by, it'll make your life a lot easier. So now let's take all this information and in practical terms, let me show you the Facebook Audience Insights tool and how to use it to get the right data. We're going to talk about Facebook Audience Insights. This is basically a free tool that is available to anyone who has a Facebook account. And this is a very valuable tool because what Facebook is doing is it's giving you direct access to a lot of its data, which is very, very important. And it enables you to figure out a lot more about who you're targeting. So to give you some practical examples, let's head on over to the tool and show you all of it in action. Okay, so to get to Facebook Audience Insights, you'll need to go to business.facebook.com. You'll need to log in to your personal Facebook profile, and you'll need to set that up if you haven't. And after that, you'll need to click on the top, go to Audience Insights, and here we are. So what this allows you to do is, like I said, it allows you to enter a location, an age and gender, specific interests. And if you have a page, and let's say, for example, the page is highly populated or at least has a couple thousand people, you'll be able to figure out who exactly is inside that Facebook page in terms of demographics. Now, if you don't have a page, no big deal. I'm going to show you how to use a tool so that you can find the right information about the person that you're trying to target. Okay, so up at the top, we have location. I'm going to keep it at United States, but if you click this X here, you can actually change it to something else like Australia, like that. But in this case, we're going to do United States. And the next thing you can do is age and gender. So if you're targeting a niche, let's say that is mainly women, then you're going to want to click women here. But if it's mainly men, you want to click men here. And of course, if you're trying to target everybody, then it can be all, male and female. And if it's a specific age group, you can select the minimum age group. So let's say that we want to target anybody from 30 and up. So 30 and up. So this can be any. We can change this to 30 to 65 plus. And then of course we have interest. Now, what I like to do is I usually like to start with the smallest amount. So 18 to any and all. Because what I want to do is not assume that I know who the demographic is, unless I have had previous sales and a lot of the sales were just male, or a lot of the sales were just female. So bear in mind your niche, you know your niche better. So what I like to start out with is interest. So to kind of stick with what we were talking about earlier, if we type in scuba and we have scuba diving here, we see that this is an interest, and up at the top we have 4 million to about 4.5 million people who are interested in scuba diving in the United States, and that are all ages and all genders. Now, this is really interesting about Facebook. In order for them to be put into a specific interest, they have to have gone to websites that are related to scuba diving. So you can get more specific if you enter that in here. Now, if we take a look at demographics, you can see that about 56% are men and 44% are women. So we see that the majority appears to be about 25 up. So it's low here, it increases here, and then it decreases down here. So we can kind of gauge that the large amount of people in this interest are 25 to 34 or 25 to 44. Now, bear in mind that doesn't necessarily mean that they are buyers yet, but this helps you paint the picture. Now, if we scroll down a bit, we can see that the majority of these people that are interested in scuba diving are married. and they have at least a college education level. So this is a well-educated group. We can see that the job title, now if I scroll to the right here, this is important because it tells you which one of these are increasing rapidly. Now we can see that production has the most. So it has 21%, and then it's got transport and moving 13%. So what this means is the people who are interested in scuba diving that are in this specific interest have this particular job title. Now, if we scroll up, we can click on page likes. And this is actually very interesting because this allows you to see which pages they like. So for example, we have Jenny Springs, the specific clothing brand they're interested in, Salt Life and Grunt Style, clothing store. We can see outdoors and sporting goods company, Bass Pro Shops they're interested in. They're interested in a lot of outdoors type shops, websites, musicians they're interested in, TV shows that they like, so Duck Dynasty. So imagine being able to target, let's say, males from ages 25 and up, or maybe 25 to 45, who like Duck Dynasty and scuba diving. So you can create these conditional targets and target people specifically. So we go through, we see page likes, we can go visit the pages and take a look at what they like and get an idea of how they're interacting with the page, what content are they viewing, and all that. Now, if we scroll back to the top, we click on location. This allows us to see the top cities. So we can see Tampa, Florida, Honolulu, Hawaii. So a lot of Florida and Hawaii here, which kind of makes sense because Hawaii and Florida both have a lot of beaches, a lot of places to scuba dive. And then we have top countries, top languages. So we got English. So bear in mind that because we are targeting the United States, that it's really only showing cities, countries, and languages within the United States. Now, if I were to make this worldwide, this would broaden our spectrum. So if you click on activity, we can get a better view of how people are interacting with this niche, what kind of devices they're using. They're using mainly mobile devices, iPhones, and Androids. So we can see that a lot of them are not at desktop, which kind of gives us an idea that because these are outdoorsy people, they're most likely not going to be surfing on the inside or in their house, basically. So now let's take all this information and let's create an avatar in the next video.